After the street fight that was the race in the Music City Grand Prix, we head to the National Park of Speed, 4 miles around one of America's premier racing destinations. That's right, it's time to go racing from Elkhart Lake for the Toyota GR Cup North America. This track, this circuit, it has corner names that are etched into the very racing fabric of America. And for the first time, we set these GR Cup cars loose, as there you can see them lined up on the grid. DJ Clark alongside Joe Peak up here in the booth. And Joe, I've got to tell you, there is an air of excitement about this race. Everyone's so much looking forward to setting these cars loose here today.
I keep telling people, as far as the races over the course of the season, Indianapolis and Road America are at the very top of the list of every driver and fan. It is one of the most valued. It is obviously a highly respected race circuit, and with the high speeds around here, it's going to be fascinating to see how this one plays out.
It's going to be very fascinating indeed, especially considering who we have starting on the front row. Tyler Gonzalez and Gresham Wagner, really two of the big protagonists that we've had over the course of this season. Gresham taking a handful of podiums. Tyler, obviously, our championship points leader here at this point. Spike Kohlbecker, however, holding on to second place in the championship. He'll start off in 4th place, but those three up at the top, in the top 4, that's going to be a big storyline. And let's not sleep on Justin Piscatell in that very distinctive yellow or orange machine there. I think all 4 of them could realistically walk away with a chance to win this race.
Absolutely, but from what we've seen, Tyler Gonzalez has been very tough to beat when he is on his game, as they get the signal to start their engines now down on pit lane. So I think Tyler is really the one with the target on his back.
Yeah, I think he is as well. And he was able to withstand that back in Nashville, able to really hold off some good attacks there. Also want to mention, coming off of that Nashville race, the fact that Aiden Yoder able to take his first podium there. Also the continued improvement that we've seen from Jackson Bell in that number 2 machine for Precision Racing LA. Had a chance to talk to Jackson a little bit earlier on in the weekend, and he said, you know, my results keep improving. I keep moving up in the order, and he said that he thought a podium could be in store here. He'll be starting from 11th, so a little bit of work to do, but this is a track where you can certainly overtake and make those moves happen.
And that's exactly what this series is about. This is for a lot of young drivers to cut their teeth, to kind of learn their way into GT racing and sports car racing in a spec series where everybody is on even footing.
Yeah, exactly. As we're going to run our way through the starting grid here, as you can see, as we talked about, Tyler Gonzalez and Gresham Wagner starting on the front row. Justin Piscatell and Spike Kohlbecker are going to be lining up behind them. Drake Kemper, another name to keep an eye out for here in the 99, and a new name, Weston Workman, in the Smooge Racing number 66, a fantastic qualifying on Weston's first run here. Paul Bocuse will start off in the 7th position, followed by another new name coming over from Circle Track Racing there, Corey Heim, going to be starting off in P8. Then it's Mark Pombo and Will Robusto in the number 8 to round out your top 10.
Then you get into row 6, Jackson Bell going to be on the inside in that number 2, as Stephen Clements going to be starting in the 12th position. Derek Jones is going to be in the 13th spot in that number 44. Aiden Yoder all the way down in 14th. He'll have some work to do. Lucas Weisenberg kind of in the same deal there in that number 46, down 15th. Not where you usually see him. Nick Longy going to be starting 16th. Then it's Kevin Foster in the 17th position, followed by Tommy McCarthy. And finally, in row 10, we will have Joey Da Silva outside in that number 67 and 20th.
As we move on back, got a few more entries here in the field. I believe Smetzer Schmidt going to be lining up in 21st, followed by Farron Davis in the number 11 machine in 22nd. Austin Dodge all the way back down in 31st. We've seen Austin fighting for top 10s earlier this year. He'll line up alongside Tody Breidinger. Then it's Andrew Gilliland and Will Rogers back in 26th position. And then on the last row of the grid, that will be the number 98 machine there. I believe that is going to be Kanan O'Connell starting that far back in the field. Paul Sparta, one of our competitors in another series here at this point. But as we get ready to go, here we come down into one of the areas of the track that I'm very fascinated to see how these cars are going to perform through. Obviously, coming down here through the kink. I had a chance to watch these cars out on track yesterday, through the kink and through Canada Corner. I gotta tell you, Joe, there's a lot of four-wheel slides here. These cars are really getting chucked into these corners, and it makes for some pretty spectacular action.
I'm not surprised. These cars love to drift. It's not the fast way around, but they're easy to get a little bit sideways and fun to try and hold on to. As far as the kink goes, from what we talked to some of the drivers, it sounds like it's not completely flat out. Maybe in qualifying trim with low fuel they can get through there, but they need a little bit of a breathe on the throttle.
Well, and let's not forget, there is going to be a little bit of aero wash coming off of these cars. Now, these are relatively low downforce machines, but there is a splitter, there is that rear wing, and so you are going to get a little bit of that buffeting from the dirty air, and so that could affect it as well. We could maybe see them stretch out a little bit as the race goes on. But let's put these cars in double file order as they come through Billy Mitchell Bend and work their way into the final corner here at this point. Tyler Gonzalez, Gresham Wagner leading this field around to green. It's going to be a long way until they get into the VP acceleration zone. GR86 pace car going to pull off down pit lane there and give the control of the field over to your championship points leader, Tyler Gonzalez, as they climb the hill here. All eyes going towards the flag stand and Tom Hansing as, again, they work their way down into the VP acceleration zone. You can see it there on your screen, and there goes the green. We are racing here at Road America. It looks like a pretty neat and orderly getaway there. So maybe some little bumping in the back. That's Stephen Clemens in the black and pink machine that's going to poke his nose to the outside. Looks like that's going to be another one of the Smooth Racing drivers that's going to try to go. Oh, Clemens getting into the side of it there. That's Will Robusto getting a little bit of a hip check as well, but they're still going to make it down through turn one nice and cleanly.
A lot of cars using that paved runoff on the exit, and for good reason. I thought for sure we were going to have an accident and collecting half the field there at the start of this race. Clemens does look like he might have a problem. He could have cut down a tire from that contact.
He very well could have. That was some pretty rough side-to-side contact there, but the field now down through turn three, and look at this. Here comes Gresham Wagner trying to get a bit of that draft off of Tyler Gonzalez. Meanwhile, in the back, Spike Colbecker and Justin Piscatell side by side with Weston Workman lurking in the background. It doesn't look like we're going to see a move for the lead, but there they go down to the inside. Nice move by Workman, going to try to make it a 2-for-1.
Oh, Piscatell nearly went off course. He was going very wide. He's having a horrible start to this race, but I got to give credit to Wagner clinging to the back of Gonzalez, knowing he can't let him get away, still side by side out of 6.
And that was one of the tech sport drivers. Oh, big off there in the background. That's one of the VGRT drivers, I do believe. There's some gravel there on the circuit. That's going to be a little bit strange. Oh, big move to the inside. That's Pombo coming up to the inside there of the 24. They're going to try to sort themselves as they go down into turn 8, and the 55 going to get set a little bit wide. That's Spike Colbecker going the wrong way.
Woof, almost 3 wide at one point, going down into the carousel. And being offline like we've got with Clemens here is not good. This new surface doesn't have much grip when you go wide, and it's also a little anti-camber out there as some of them are kicking up dust.
Yeah, that was Pombo there on the exit of the carousel, kicking up a lot of dust. Thinking about a little bit of too wide through the kink. Probably not going to want to do that. Oh, that's a car off in front, barely able to hold on to that. As I don't know how these drivers are keeping things together, but it just goes to show you the talent here in this series.
I hope it calms down after this first lap. Not because I don't want the excitement, but I just hope that we get all cars coming home here, all 27 of them, seeing the checkered flag. Very lucky they're going wide at the kink. Oftentimes you can see the car spit back across if you get the wheels in the grass.
Yeah, very much so. That is the most perilous point of the track. You've got to be very, very careful coming through there. Oh, big move down to the inside for the number 6 Godwin Motorsports machine. That's Will Rogers, and we've got a spin. Rogers involved and 3 cars out.
Scattering to try and avoid. Good heads up, but it does look like that Godwin car is a little stranded. There's some stuff on the course, some debris, but I think all cars are able to get going, so we shouldn't need a full course yellow unless they think that little piece of bodywork is too much.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there about that. Farther back down in the field, Paul Bocu's going to keep on going, and there you can see Tom Hansing waving the green flag as Gresham Wagner finally starting to look a little bit aggressive here. I think he's had enough of waiting in the wings. He's ready to fight.
Yeah, like I said, Wagner knows that this is critical here. Now watch coming in. There's that 3 wide move. And you know what? I almost think Godwin was maybe a little bit too strong into there, but that car on the outside didn't didn't know that they were 3 wide, so he thought he could cut down, but suddenly there's a car there.
Yeah, and that was the number 23 there of Tommy McCarthy for Tommy McCarthy Racing. As we take another look back at the lead of this race, wide run there for Tyler Gonzalez coming out of turn 5. Tyler just trying to maximize that momentum around the corner, keep up that minimum corner speed as much as he can.
And Tyler tends to be pretty good when he's put under pressure. It's not like he just goes off and wins without anybody ever having to touch him. We've seen him have to race for these victories. So I think Wagner has a real fight on his hands.
Yeah, I think he does too here, but let's also give some credit here to Weston Workman, up a couple of positions here at the drop of the green flag, holding on to 3rd right now. That's a good run, and especially if we see Gonzalez and Wagner start to duke it out, Weston could be in good position to be able to put that 66 up into the top spot.
Yeah, he'll want to hold on to this 3rd position and also keep Kemper from coming back at him to make a challenge on that. The gap that he's got right now is nice and comfortable. If he gets any closer, he needs to start racing defensive.
And that car you saw poking their nose out, that was Kevin Foster in the number 69 machine, just trying to see if he could get a little bit of a line. There's that fast run down through Kettle Bottoms. Gresham Wagner just keeping up the pressure here to the back of Tyler Gonzalez. And Joe, you and I talk about this all the time. Sometimes if you don't have the outright speed, if you don't have that ability to just be able to dive on by, sometimes the best thing you can do is fill up those rear view mirrors of your competitor.
It's a psychological game, racing, and this is a part of it. You have to try and get into the head and see who really has the mental fortitude in this situation to put that out of their mind and focus forward, as we got a car way off. That's the spiked car, I think.
Yes, indeed it is. Barely able to hold on to it there. That is about as lucky of a lucky break as you can imagine coming through the kink. Normally, if we say you go off in the kink, that is going to be a very, very bad accident, and good luck there that they were able to hold on.
I believe that was Spencer Schmidt who had that off there. So, a little bit of side-by-side racing down into turn 1, and indeed a big look as well as we take a look at turn 3. Wagner trying to poke his nose on Gonzalez. Didn't get the overlap, but like you said, he's still trying to see if he can distract him.
Well, and the other thing I like here about that is going down into turn 3 is not a traditional overtaking opportunity. That's normally a medium speed corner, let's call it, around this circuit, and so he's trying to poke his nose at areas that you wouldn't normally consider passing zones, just trying to get into the head of that driver of the number 57.
I will say that a peer of mine who was much faster in my sim racing days always said the whole track is a passing zone. So if you can make it work, make it happen. So I don't blame him for giving it a try. The main thing he needs to worry about there is if he tries to go for a pass into some of those corners that lead onto long straights, that can compromise you in a bad way. And considering Workman now has the fastest lap of the race, he's starting to make himself a factor.
Yeah, I'll tell you who else could be a factor into that. That's Drake Kemper and Justin Piscatell, who you see on your screen right now. Now remember, Piscatell started up in 3rd position, falling back down through the order here a little bit. Justin going to be trying to push ahead here. Now as we watch him come through the carousel here, you may be wondering a little bit why we're not seeing drivers take that a little bit wider. Well, Joe, you talked about the resurface a little bit earlier. I've been told if you try to go onto the outside of the carousel now, the way that corner is cambered, you're going to find yourself well off into the gravel. Yeah,
and we've seen a number of cars over the course of this weekend wind up in there. So much dirt and dust being kicked off to the side of the track there through the kink. That's going to make the track terribly dirty.
Yeah, very, very dirty, and these fresh, slick Continental tires do not want any of that dirt to pick up onto them. Nice little 4-way battle here, a little bit farther back down in the field. This is for 12th place. Kevin Foster leading Jackson Bell, Stephen Clements, Aiden Yoder. Here comes the move there for the number 69 machine of Foster, trying to be able to hold off an attack. And now here comes a little bit more. The number 80 of Tyler Wettengill getting involved in this as well.
Yeah, he manages to... whoa, we got a pass for the lead potentially here. Up to the inside. Wagner somehow get a good run off of turn 14. Gonzalez might be on the back foot, but could he cut back? No, not going to be there.
Not going to be there in time as they now come down through turn 1, but Gresham's going to run very, very wide as he comes back onto the surface here at this point. Tyler Gonzalez looks to the outside, thinks about maybe a move down into the inside, but decides against it. Your new order, Gresham Wagner for Tech Sport Racing ahead of Copeland Motorsports, Tyler Gonzalez, and Weston Workman still lurking in the background. But crucially, Joe, Wagner holding on to that fastest lap of the race.
This is pretty interesting. Now, Wagner has been fast for much of the season, but for him to have chased down and taken that spot away from Gonzalez, that is really him laying it down and saying, here's what I have today. Can you match this?
Yeah, very, very much so. Throwing that gauntlet down here early. Again, Gonzalez running very, very wide, as did Piscatell down into turn 5. That appears to be the preferred line there for Tyler Gonzalez, as now they head into the hurry downs. Let's see if Tyler's able to catch up here a little bit. He looks like he's less than a car length behind as they now fly down into turn 8.
All right, so what can Gonzalez do to try and fight back on him here? And if they keep fighting, is this going to mean that suddenly Workman is going to have a shot at trying to steal the position from both of them? Or can they continue to try and run away from him? Also, by the way, that incident that we had at turn 14 was looked at, and there is no action from the stewards.
All right, so race control a little bit busy here early on, but that's the only thing that we have been able to take a look at here at this point. And I've got to say, I'm very impressed here with Weston Workman. Ooh, almost cutting the course there. Workman off and going through the kink. He's going to be able to hold on to it, but kicks up a big cloud of dust. And again, that is going to be a little bit of a distraction for some of those competitors behind, as they have to basically go blind through that area.
Yeah, there's a couple things that are wrong with that situation. Like I said, it gets on the track and that loses you a little bit of grip. The cars are going to clean it up somewhat quickly. But like you mentioned, when you see all that dirt, you don't know coming in if someone's had a huge off or if someone just maybe kicked it up a little bit like that. So you have to really be careful out of that corner when you start to see that happen in front of you.
Yeah, you certainly do. It does look like here at this point, Gonzalez and Wagner have started to stretch that advantage over Weston Workman right now. As they come across the stripe, we're going to take a look at the gap. It was about 1.2 seconds on the previous lap. Now it's expanded to 1.6. As now Gonzalez, though, looks like he's got a great run on the back of Gresham Wagner, but decides not to go for it into turn 1. And I've got to say, Joe, I kind of agree with that. That is a lot faster of a corner than a lot of folks give it credit for.
Yeah, it's actually surprisingly hard, even though it's at the end of the longest straight. Like you said, it's a pretty swift corner. Now, thankfully, they have the paved runoff these days on the outside, so you can use that to your advantage if you maybe go a little deep and you're side by side. But it is pretty difficult to try and manage to actually execute.
Yeah, it can be a little bit difficult to try to get that right. Little three-car battle here back for 9th position. This is Will Robusto, Mark Pombo, and then I believe Lucas Weisenberg. Weisenberg there looking to what will be the outside going down into turn 5, trying to be able to get that to play on Pombo. Pombo's going to hold defensive, try to force him out wide, and that's going to work a treat there. They'll stay in the same order they came in.
Great job by Weisenberg. Remember, he came from way down the order, still going side by side, though, as we come into turn 7. This is very difficult to do. The respect given from either of them, as it looks like Heidelberg's going to get that spot.
Yeah, that's Corey Heim that's going to be able to take that away, as Drake Kemper trying not to lose 2 positions. Contact there with the number 55 of Spike Kohlbecker, and that's going to hold him out, and Drake Kemper's going to lose 3 positions in the course of 2 corners.
That 99 is trailing a serious piece of bodywork, too. That's not good. In fact, that is the side skirt of the car. I wonder if they might give him a black and orange flag, because that could wind up being a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, it certainly could be, especially if it were to fall off, maybe have a little bit of a tire puncture or something like that. Let's take another look at that. Now, that is Corey Heim down to the inside, Kohlbecker, and then that 8th place machine there of the 71 of Paul Bocuse. And that was just basically 3 cars coming into a corner where you could really only fit 2.
Unfortunately, and still side by side with Kohlbecker having to fend off now on the number 8 of Will Robusto as they work their way up towards Bill Mitchell Bend. Oh man, he's having a bad time here. It looks like he's going to lose out, and on top of it, Mark Pombo going to try and see if he can put him down one more.
Oh, Tyler Wettengel took a look down to the inside of Mark Pombo. Is there Pombo's going to be able to get the run for the VGRT machine? Wettengel's got to be Weisenberg's got to be a little bit careful. They're running over that piece of debris in turn 14, but now it's going to be a drag race between Lucas Weisenberg and Kohlbecker here as they come on, Kemper here as they come past the start-finish line. Who's going to be able to break latest into that corner?
It's hard to tell if he's suffering some damage, Kohlbecker, or if he's being slowed down by the debris hanging off, or if he's just been rattled psychologically, as Weisenberg is going to be able to get by and put himself up into that 10th spot now. But something is wrong with that 99 car.
Yeah, well, that's the one with that trailing bit of damage on the left-hand side of the car, that side skirt coming off a little bit, and I wonder if that's, oh, that's not good. It almost looks like it's making contact there with that left rear tire. That could be very, very sketchy there for Drake Kemper. That could be bad news, and I'd be interested to see here Jackson Bell and Tyler Wettengill coming up behind him. We may see some more passes as we take a look back in on the lead. Gresham Wagner setting the fastest lap of the race last time out, but Tyler Gonzalez not letting him out of his sights.
It's really distinct, contrasting fortunes there for the Copeland Motorsports driver, Drake Kemper, down there falling many positions, while Gonzalez may have lost the lead, but still looking at a pretty good race here. We have to remember, he's got to think big picture here. Comes into this leading by 40 points. It's 25 points for a win. If he gets his second place, it's not that big of a deal.
No, it's certainly not, and especially with his closest title rivals farther down in the field here at this point, it's going to be good running for him, and he's going to keep an eye on it. Spike Kohlbecker in 5th place at the moment, and so that is his closest title rival here right now.
Yeah, second place in the points. Gresham Wagner, though, is 3rd in the championship. He's only got 58 points compared to Tyler Gonzalez's 151. Nearly 100 points difference. Yes, Gresham Wagner has now passed him, but like I said, I think he can think big picture and afford to wave him off and say, you go ahead.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And Tyler, a very, very mature driver, he's going to know that. He's going to be cognizant of those team points, or of the championship points. He'll be thinking about that. But Joe, you and I also know that if you put another driver in front of a driver, you're going to have a battle. It's just inherent in the way that racing drivers think.
It's their nature. They want to win. Gresham Wagner does not set the fastest lap this time, but the previous lap, he set down a 2:32.5, so very good one. Well, and as soon as I say that, Spike Kohlbecker takes it away. That's interesting. So 2:32.4 for the 55, who currently sits in 6th, as we get some side-by-side racing with Heim on the inside and that number 24 way off on the outside next to him.
Yeah, that's Spike Kohlbecker there, and don't look now. Paul Bocuse thought about making it 3 wide going down into turn 3, but Kohlbecker and Heim right now almost leaning on each other coming through turn 3. They make their way down the Moraine sweep right now. Paul Bocuse has a decision to make. Who does he want to follow through? Looks like right now he's choosing to follow Kohlbecker.
I think we might actually be getting some bump drafting. Nope, he's not completely on top of him, but he's very close. It is still working well. They're going quickly, and I think they might both be able to get by Heim by turn 5, and they do.
Yes, they do. I also saw a little bit of side-by-side there behind. I think that was Will Robusto and Mark Pombo. It looks like Robusto is going to be able to hold off the attack. We continue to focus on Bocuse right now. He's going to work his way on through. Let's see if he decides to try to make a little bit of a move here on Spike Kohlbecker. Leads that run here down through the hurry downs into turn 8. Car just catching a little bit of dirt there in the background, but everyone through here nice and cleanly. Now this battle of 3 right now, this is the battle for P5, and they're a good 3 seconds off of Justin Piscatell, who runs in 4th place.
Bocuse, though, their big defensive move down into the carousel. He was not interested in letting the 24 get even a whiff of the inside line into there, so he was covering him off. Meanwhile, looks like we got a nice fight between the 73 and the 44.
Oh, that's a car off there. That's the number 86 machine, Eagles Canyon Racing of Andrew Gilliland. That's down, I believe, into turn 5. Oh, look at that. The Lumarank there on Aiden Yoder's machine starting to hang a little bit. That's got to be a little bit distracting for the driver. Let's take a look at what happened here. This is the 86, just comes in.
Too hot.
Yeah, catches a little bit of the curb, and the tail just wants to break
Whoa.
away.
Oh, no. Oh, well, he caught it about 3 times, and then he didn't. And that last one is what bit him. And that actually hit the wall so hard, he just about knocked over that concrete block.
Yeah, just about did. This is the battle right now for P17, a driver who's really been falling back down through the order. This is Stephen Clemens, and just ahead of him is the number 44 VGRT entry of Derek Jones. That's who you see on your screen. But look at this. We talked a little bit ago about how Gonzalez may want to hold back a little bit. Looked like he was falling behind. He clearly has no intention of holding back, Joe. He just set the fastest lap of the race, the first driver to get down into the 2:32.3s.
And both of them are pushing because Wagner set his personal best at a 2:32.5. So he was 2/10 quicker than Gresham even on his fastest lap of the race. Definitely both of them are stretching this at 10/10 right now. Behind them, it does look like Workman and Piscatell are still very close in the background. We keep seeing that battle hovering.
Yeah, we certainly do. Piscatell hasn't necessarily looked super aggressive. We've got a safety car deployed here with about 26 minutes left to go in the race. Now, I wonder, Joe, at this point, maybe that damaged the barrier that we saw there, that being slightly out of position. Oh, nope, here is our answer. That is the number 86 machine. That, again, is that car that you saw around the Eagles Kingdom Racing driver of Andrew Gilliland. Looks like a right rear puncture, as well as some damage on that car, and I've got to assume that that is the reason we are under yellow flag conditions.
That's, interesting. Okay, yeah, so the suspension is broken on that right rear, and so he's trying to steer into it, and that's why it's screaming its way back. Is that what the caution is for, though? Because that car isn't really a danger right now. I mean, it is if they've got the field coming across them, but surely something else must have caused them to throw a double-waved yellow, because this car is rolling under its own power. It looks like it should easily get back to pit lane.
Yeah, it should easily get back to pit lane there. I wonder if this is maybe a combination of just caution of wanting to throw the yellow flag here to make sure that the car would have enough time to get around, and also maybe clean up some of that debris that we've seen out on circuit, particularly out in turn 14. Although it does look like coming down through Canada Corner, the 86 there doing a very, very heads-up thing. Yeah, there's a little bit of dirt there on the track as a result of Gilliland going off, so I wonder if that's part of the reason they wanted to do that as well, just make sure this track surface is as clean and pristine as possible for all of these GR Cup cars.
Now, I think Gilliland was pulling over to let them through, but we'll find out soon enough if he does take off. I also wonder if it might have been because of the debris out there on the exit of 14 that we're seeing here, that they have decided they want to get that cleaned up, and this was a good enough excuse with that wounded car to slow things down and go grab that and make sure that everything is kosher for the cars. Pace car already getting ready to pick them up, though, out on the front stretch.
And I think I may have just seen Drake Kemper, yes indeed, Drake Kemper coming down into pit lane. Remember, he was the one that had that left hand, that driver's side of the car on the side skirt dragging. There it is, the 99 coming down into pit lane right now. The team obviously making the call here at this point to be able to get some repairs onto the car, maybe frankly just rip that side skirt off so it's not going to be dragging this entire time.
He's got 99 problems, but the lead ain't one right now, unfortunately. So they're going to have to try and pull that one off and get him back out there. But now he's going to be at the very back of the field. And this is one of the larger fields that we have all weekend long. Now,
he's coming down. He is coming down into the paddock there at that point. Oh, that was also some damage there on Mia Lovell at this point. Now, we should talk here for a second. That's the number 68 machine there of Mia. Mia is the undisputed, frankly, queen of this series. She has won the fastest female driver award every single time we have been out here. It's clear damage on the side of that car, so she has risen her way up through the field into 16th at the moment. Hopefully that number 68 Swedish Racing machine is going to be okay despite that damage on the right rear of the car.
My concern with that is whether or not that's going to hurt that straight line speed, just because these cars don't have a lot of oomph behind them, and they are pretty solid aerodynamically. They're pretty quick in a straight line in that sense. So if you do anything to disrupt that, especially that bumper acting almost like a parachute there, that could hurt her on a track that absolutely needs you to be quick.
Yeah, very, very well could. Road America, what we kind of like to refer to as a power circuit around here. A lot of those high-speed areas. look at that. Tommy McCarthy in that number 23. Remember, he was one of the 3 cars that was involved in that incident earlier on in the race. Tommy looks like he's running in 22nd at the moment. Some pretty hefty damage on the right front of that car. So we'll take a look here. Everyone coming down through turn 8 right now. This is kind of the meat of all of those battles that we were seeing. Lucas Weisenberg, Mark Pombo, Jackson Bell, Wettengel, all of that battle in the mid-pack.
Yeah, and usually that's what you tend to expect is the best fighting is going to be in that mid-pack as everybody is just so close together in a spec series such as this. But I've been very proud of those up at the front between Wagner and Gonzalez fighting hard for that win. And again, this honestly is a great opportunity for Workman. We saw him approaching this fight, getting closer and closer. Now it has really just put him right with them with this yellow. If he can maybe pull a blinder on the start, he could possibly try and make a move down into turn 1. We'll see if he wants to do that or if he wants to continue to just kind of let them fight and then pick them off if they make a mistake.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an interesting dilemma there for him, but I'll tell you what, Joe, lights are out on the GR86 safety car, which means we are going to be going back to green flag conditions here, probably be getting that green flag just under 20 minutes to go, so a little over halfway in our race.
Glad to see this is going to be nice and quick and we can get more racing action out on the track. What's going to happen on this restart? It's going to be very different from what we saw on the initial start, since this is going to be a single file run.
Yeah, this could be a little bit interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Gresham Wagner maybe doing a little bit of what we've come to call the dragon move, trying to break the draft a little bit, moving down to the right-hand side of the track. Obviously, blocking not allowed here in any of the SRO Motorsports Group series, but if you move to break the draft rather than in response to another driver, that's a different matter. But here we are out of the final corner, and the green flag is in the air. It's time to go racing once more here at Road America. It looks like a pretty neat and orderly getaway, but look at this. Weston Workman with a great run here. And so now Tyler Gonzalez going to get a little bit of that. Who's going to be the brave one to pop out going into turn 1?
Tyler's showing himself, but they was just trying to get in his head. Meanwhile, Workman is almost pushing him through the corner. He got an excellent start to this race and is still very much a factor. And it looked like Piscatell going defensive on Kohlbecker.
Yeah, Piscatell, I think, is a little bit worried about the attack from behind, especially now that the likes of Bocuse and Heim have been able to catch back up. We come now out of turn 3, a little bit of side-by-side farther back down in the field. I think that's Pombo and Weisenberg potentially as they try to sort themselves out. No, excuse me, that's Pombo and Robusto there side-by-side as they come down, getting a push from Lucas Weisenberg.
All right, doing this one NASCAR style, coming down to the braking of turn 5, and we got a battle for the lead as Tyler manages to get to the inside, and it's Wagner this time who makes the mistake. Workman picks up the pieces.
And it looks like there's another good battle there coming up from behind as they go down into the corner. I think that's Spike Kohlbecker and Paul Bocuse. They're going to sort themselves out. Running wide there on the exit of the corner, though that looks to be another driver able to keep everything together and will stay together.
Wow. This has been a fascinating one up at the top. Still more side-by-side racing down, coming into turn 8. And there's Mia putting herself into it. It also looks like the 77 going a little bit wide there.
Yeah, good moves all the way around here at this point as they try to be able to hold themselves together. Weisenberg now under attack from the number 71 machine of Paul Bocuse, who's fallen back down through the order. They're going to try to go big off in the background. That's Mark Pombo. Is he going to be able to hold on to the car? Yes, he is. How did that thing come the right way? But now it looks like here the number 8 machine of Will Robusto, they keep it together through the kink.
Oh, Pombo's already had plenty of action today in the TC series, so I don't think he wants to add anything more to this. Is back on that P2. Here comes Wagner on Workman, and I think he may have gotten it.
I think he has as well. Wide run there for the number 8 of Will Robusto coming down into Canada corner as they all jumble themselves up here coming through Bill Mitchell Bend. It looks like the 71 may lose out just a little bit. That car all kinds of slideways. Paul Bocuse again having a hairy moment.
The elbows are sharp right now. My goodness. And Weisenberg's having a little bit of pressure from behind him there coming onto the main straight, but I think he got the better exit. It always tends to be better trying to wait for the pass coming off of that corner instead of trying to go into the final turn.
Yeah, very, very much so. Want to give some credit here. The big winner out of this restart, Jackson Bell. Look at that blue and white machine. That's Jackson there at this point, trying to make an attack on Mark Pombo as they come down into the braking zone. He's looking for P7. Can he get it done? Around the outside goes Bell.
And another car in the background going way wide as well, using up plenty of that track. Clements trying to come back into it. He's down to the inside. He's been up and down the order like a yo-yo, and the 76 is going to be able to overtake the 71.
Nice job there for Stephen Clements. He's climbing up through. Paul Bocuse going the wrong way down through this order. Neil Lovell looking to be involved in this battle as well. Looks like we could see a little bit of an attack here, as that's Lucas Weisenberg, but Clements right now in the 71 of Bocuse. They are going to be side by side coming down into turn 5. Paul Bocuse is going to have to be very, very late on the brakes. Big move down to the inside for the number 80 machine of Tyler Wettengill. Contact there between himself and I think that was Kevin Foster.
Somehow brought it back on the track. I don't know how, and he's trying to defend down into turn 6, and the 71 of Bocuse is going to somehow sneak in another run ride. This time he doesn't have the paved runoff to save him.
No, it does not, and that was Foster there that just kind of lost it all as they came around. He's going to rejoin at the back of this group behind Stephen Clements. As there you see everybody trying to get their way back forward here at this point. That's 67, by the way, Joey De Silva entering into this equation, and it looks like Clements may have a little bit of damage. I saw a flapping flap on one of the cars. Excuse me, that was off of Neil Lovell's machine. We've already talked about that.
Yeah, it's still kind of flapping away, but she's holding her own. She's still in 16th. As, ooh, my goodness, this is getting a little bit fierce. I don't think he'll get called for blocking on that, but it was almost marginal.
Yeah, that was the number 44 machine there of Derek Jones, sending a big move up into the inside, going into the kink, as now we've got side-by-side Neil Lovell. Oh, big off in the background. That's a big hit going down into the kink. As we keep our eyes focused on this battle, that's Jones, Lovell, all trying to sort themselves out there with the 71 of Paul Bocuse, who's trying to get everything together as that battle now looking like it. This is Will Robusto up at the front. Robusto off coming through the corner with the VGRT entry of Mark Pombo. They're going to go 3 wide through turn 14.
The 80 sends it in. They do send the 10 off, though, unfortunately, way into the dirt. Can he save it? No, it's going towards the wall over one of the the Pirelli markers we've got there, and now it's stuck to the front of the car. Looks like he's going to get it off of it, and he comes to a halt.
He's going to come to a halt there. That's the number 10 machine of Mark Pombo. Pombo's been right in the thick of all of this here at this moment, as right now, here's that battle starting to shape itself back up once again. That's Kohlbecker and Piscatell. Same story, different lap. They're duking it out, but Piscatell finally able to get the move in front.
By the way, the 69 of Foster and the 80 of Wettengill are being looked at for their contact down into turn 5 from earlier on. No word from race control on the decision on that yet. We're going to take another look at this incident down into 14. It almost looked like the 10 maybe got a bump from behind from, I think that was Weisenberg.
Yeah, I think it may have been as well. And there you see, that was very lucky. You see that big splash of water there, Joe. That's that sort of puddle there. I think he's been able to get himself back going again. So the number 10 of Mark Pombo going to continue on. But look at this. I'm going to argue this is a 5-car battle up for the lead of this race at this point, as Gonzalez, Wagner, and Workman breaking away a little bit from Piscatell and Kohlbecker, but they're certainly within striking distance.
Well, it's just like what we saw with Workman. He caught up because those top two were working on trying to fight each other more than they were worried about the car behind them. And Piscatell's in the same position. If these three start fighting, we know how fast Justin is. I think he's going to track him down.
Yeah, I think Justin very well could track them down here, but Spike Kohlbecker not letting them go. About 2 car lengths the distance as they work through the kink. Yeah, there was definitely some contact there going down to the kink on the last lap. You can see the debris off the racing surface. Whoever that was, able to get through cleanly. Ooh, more debris coming down into Canada Corner, and it looks like Piscatell ran right over that.
I'm hoping we can get some information on who that was that hit the wall there, because clearly they were dropping parts as they carried on.
Yeah, something clearly happened there at this point as they tried to get themselves to go. But Jackson Bell there, you see him flick by on your screen, up into 7th place, continuing to improve here for the young Californian. As there, Mia Lovell continuing to drive here with that damage. Mia doing a fantastic job and starting to put some pressure here onto the back of Tyler Wettengel for Nitro Motorsports as they climb the hill. A nice little 4-car battle, Weisenberg and Robusto right ahead of them.
Yeah, Lovell is up to 12th right now, and somebody was just diving off into pit lane. I didn't quite see who that was, but I suspect with all the hard racing we've had, maybe somebody got some damage that needs to be fixed. Piscatel on the 55 of Kohlbecker, wheel to wheel through the first corner, and Kohlbecker comes the worst off.
Yeah, Kohlbecker trying to make that move around the outside going into turn 1, not able to get it to play. Justin Piscatel going to hold on to the lead here. Looks like Weston Workman's starting to lose a little bit of ground up to the leaders, but as soon as I say that, here comes Gresham Wagner looking for a move on Tyler Gonzalez.
This is, honestly, might be one of the most trading of the lead that we've seen all season long up there. And no, he's not going to be able to completely go for a move, but he definitely was thinking about it once again as they follow him down through turn 5. Behind them, they're starting to drop Workman a little bit.
Yeah, they certainly are. Little look from behind there from Spike Kohlbecker as they came down into turn 6. Not going to go for it. He just continues to apply pressure onto the back of Justin Piscatel. Corey Heim, though, now starting to enter into this battle as well. The circle track racer coming on in here. Heim driving for Nitro Motorsports, his first time in the series, and he is proving himself a worthy competitor here today with a top 10, potentially a top 5.
I'm going to be honest, based on what we've seen this season, I'm pretty sure short track racing is the perfect preparation for having to fight out here, because you basically have to be comfortable with racing so close and so hard that you're going to do a bit of beating and banging, and it's proven itself to work well for Helm up into 6 with great speed today.
Yeah, great speed. Let's also draw a little bit of kudos here to Tech Sport Racing. Gresham Wagner and Spike Kohlbecker teammates there. 2 cars up into the top 5. A really good run for them. Wagner here just making it look like he may even be in for a top step on the podium. By the way, though, Gonzalez still holds on to the fastest lap of the race with a 32.3, but they're getting pretty close to that despite battling as they are.
Yeah, though there isn't a team's championship in this series, there are definitely a couple teams that have kind of become rivals here, Copeland and Tech Sport Racing, at least in this category of the GR86s. So looks like that's carrying on at the very front, playing out before our eyes as we come down to less than 10 minutes to go. And here's a good run from Wagner.
He's going to look down to the inside here, going to bring that car as far right as possible. I think he's got clearance. Yes, he does. He's going to move in front of Tyler Gonzalez. Move done for the moment for Gresham Wagner. We talked about the fastest lap of the race, and Derek Jones for PJM VGRT says, thank you very much. I'd like to take that away with a 32.216. So great job there for Derek.
I'm sure the slipstream probably has a little bit of an effect on that, honestly, as a number of cars are finding speed, just getting the right toe and hook up down these long straights. Speaking of which, that was a good toe there for Gonzalez, but doesn't look like he's close enough unless he absolutely chucks it in here.
Yeah, I think he may have popped out of line just a little bit too early on that run there, Joe. It just seemed like he kind of came out a little bit early going down through the Moraine sweep. Is there that battle for P4, though, looking very close, too, between Piscatel, Kohlbecker, and Heim. Workman in a little bit of an island unto himself at the moment. But this battle for the lead with 8 minutes and 40 seconds left to go in this race, this is where our eyes are fixated on.
Yeah, this is what it comes down to, and the way that they have dropped Workman, it's back to a 2-horse race up at the front, and they look a little less crazy out there right now, those two, because, man, when they were racing side by side, you could see how much they were wheeling the cars, just slipping and sliding everywhere. Now they look a lot more smooth.
Yeah, they look a lot smoother here at this point, and that's something we've heard here as the tires begin to wear in a little bit more, that you lose a little bit of that aggressive driving ability, and you've got to change things up a little bit. But they're certainly proving a good drive out here today. It's Corey Heim, Jackson Bell flirting with that edge of the track. You can hear those tires skidding across the surface there. Oh, that's the number 68 of Mia Lovell hard into the wall.
Oh, no. What a good day gone to waste, unfortunately. So, oh, no, we're seeing, okay, so it is the 68. We had a graphic for Foster, but a different car here. They got very, very loose. Was it into the wall? A little bit of a scrape, but I think Mia should be able to get away with it, hopefully. Yeah, car is rolling. A few parts, unfortunately, kind of bouncing off the back of the car. I'm afraid probably race over the way that it looks like it's wobbling. And, well, yeah, with the bumper looking like that, I don't know that she'll be able to get back out.
Yeah, that's not exactly the way that that is supposed to be. Also, a little bit of smoke coming out of the back there. I wonder if there's a little bit of tire rub on the right rear. As here comes Kohlbecker on an attack on Justin Piscatell around the outside of turn 1. A little bit of dust kick up in front from Wagner and Gonzalez. But this battle for P4 looking good here. Corey Heim trying to figure out which line he wants to take is coming into the corner. Piscatell and Kohlbecker almost rubbing doors.
I think they gave each other just enough space, and now it carries on down the moraine sweep as well. The thing is that inside is going to go to Kohlbecker, so Piscatell's going to have to be deep down here into the braking, or at least carry the speed well off the corner if he wants to take this one. Or we could see the car from behind, Heim, be able to take the position here, and indeed, he is going to sneak inside of Piscatell.
Good job there for Corey Heim, just kind of recognizing that defensive move there as Piscatell carried some good speed coming out of turn 5. And welcome to the battle now, Jackson Bell. Here comes the number 2 machine for Precision Racing LA. He's going to try to take a look at the back of Justin Piscatell.
I'm going to be honest, as feisty as we've seen the racing and weekends past, this is perhaps the craziest I think we've seen it ever.
But it's absolutely fantastic. Bell and Piscatell rubbing doors there a little bit coming down through turn 8. They're going to keep things together. But now Bell's going to be taking a look here at that rear wing of the McCumbee McAleer Racing Drivers machine. It's going to lose a little bit of time there. That aero wash that we talked about, I think, coming back to bite Bell a little bit. Maybe he'll be able to get a good attack here, but also what can the 24 of Corey Heim do as he tries to close down on Spike Kohlbecker?
They gave the black and orange flag to car 68, so Lovell being forced to come in to get that car repaired regardless. A little bit of a defense from Piscatell down into Canada corner to hold back the number 2 of Jackson Bell. Also, there's going to be a 5-second post-race penalty for number 80 for that contact with the 69, and that's going to be Wettengel, who sits in 11th.
Oh, that's going to be a very rough run there for Tyler, sitting in 11th place right now. Looks like he's got a little bit of a gap back to Stephen Clemens, though, so that may help him a little bit. It's about 5 seconds right now, so we'll have to see, and we'll keep you updated on that. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field right now, Gresham Wagner, Tyler Gonzalez. Gonzalez setting the fastest lap of the race. Last time by, looks down to the inside, not able to get it done. He's going to hold back into line here, but Joe, we've got 4 minutes and 30 seconds left to go. Never trust a commentator's math, but I think that's 2 laps to go.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is 2 laps to go, but the battle for the lead still very much on, and that 2-lap marker probably in the year from the teams, telling them that you got to really try and either take the position if you're Gonzalez or if you're Wagner, play defense as hard as you can from here. Meanwhile, Clemens, he's got some fighting from behind, but you mentioned he's 5 seconds behind. Someone also probably getting in his ear saying, hurry up. If you can just get a little bit closer to the car ahead, you could have an easy position.
Very, very much so. Ooh, wide run there for Tyler Gonzalez. We've seen him do that a couple of times down into turn 5. Again, just trying to keep that minimum corner speed up as much as possible. But it looked like on that run that it actually lost him some time up to Gresham Wagner as they run down through the corner. Weston Workman, we talked earlier about TechSport and Copeland, another one of the big names here in the series for Weston. Smooge Racing up in the top 3. That's going to be a pretty good day for them.
It impresses me the pace that these two have. Already 3.5 seconds ahead of Workman currently. And that's with some of the fighting that they've been doing here. Really shows that they are a class above everybody else in this field.
Yeah. Very, very much so. They have established themselves as the drivers to beat, and they are proving it again here today at the first race at Road America. We will again go racing tomorrow once again, and that will be another good race that'll take place roughly around noon Central Time, there or thereabouts. Diving down into Canada Corner for what we believe to be the penultimate time here. Gresham Wagner leading Tyler Gonzalez. These two pulling a gap of about 3.5 seconds over Weston Workman for Smooge Racing as they try to really solidify themselves at the class of this GR Cup field.
What can Gonzalez do here? What does he want to do in this situation? Remember that point that we were making earlier. He doesn't need to take this win. Wagner is a competitor in terms of being third versus Tyler in first, but he's so far behind in points, he can afford to give up. I think this is what, going to be 7 points that he'll gain on him?
Yeah, I think that's about right, but the white flag is in the air. Tom Hansing waving that white flag as there you can see drivers kind of snaking their way down the start-finish straight, trying to get a little bit of a break from the slipstream as the battle for P1 now is going to start to ratchet on up here. Wagner, Gonzalez down through turn 3, the Moraine sweep coming up.
Tyler's looking mighty close here. Let's see what he tries down into turn 5. It was a decent exit. Doesn't look like he's really gaining all that much, but the slipstream will start to pull him in a little bit, covering the left-hand side. Wagner's not giving him any whiff of it. He's going to make a late move off to the right, and indeed, he forces Tyler to be the first to blink. Tyler
here not looking like he's going to be later on the binders, looking for the crossover move. I think he's got it. He's got at least a little bit of a crossover as they climb the hill up into turn 6. Gonzalez has to be later on the binders here, comes down to the inside of Gresham Wagner. Wagner tries to give back a little bit of Tyler's own medicine, but it's not going to work. That's going to be Gonzalez up into the lead.
That was brilliant on Tyler's part. He has a wise old head on those young shoulders, and but he's going to have to fight hard because here coming down the inside comes Wagner. Adam once again. Tyler around the outside using the paved runoff.
But that's going to put Tyler Gonzalez on the preferred line through the carousel. Remember, we said if you get out wide there, it could be rough. Gresham Wagner says, I don't care. I want to make it run. They're almost touching mirrors as they come out of the carousel side by side. Wagner wheels off into the grass, still side by side, coming down into the kink. Who is going to blink first? Neither of them do, but it's going to be Gonzalez that's able to carry the line. But now we come down through Kettle Bottoms into Canada Corner.
Nobody is willing to lift their foot in this situation. Everybody is keeping right into it. But I think as long as he gets a good exit off of 14, Gonzalez should be able to take this.
Gonzalez a little bit squirrely under braking there at the moment. They're going to climb up the hill here into turn 13. Ready to go through Bill Mitchell Bend. The gap is about 2 car lengths as they come down through the final sequence of corners. Down through turn 14. Wagner later onto the binders, trying to hold it off as much as possible. Here they go. It's full speed ahead. That's going to be Gonzalez dipping a tire off into the grass. Will that slow him down ever so slightly? It's a drag race as they come up the hill. That's Gonzalez off to the right-hand side of the track trying to break the draft. It's going to be close at the line. It's going to be Gonzalez by 76 thousandths of a second.
It came right down to the end between them. Workman will take the podium in third position and Kohlbecker fourth ahead of Heim. But we kind of expected it was going to be a good fight here. I didn't expect it was going to be that crazy as we see a few more of the drivers. Clemens crossing with a 12th spot. We always know that when it comes to Road America, the slipstream plays a factor. Nearly gave it back to Wagner in the end. What an incredible race for the victory at the top. And I have to imagine that Tyler and Gresham going to be just grinning ear to ear when they get out of the car, because that was not only some good racing, some hard racing between them, it was fair racing. And it's fantastic to see these young up-and-comers really be able to race each other, leaning on each other, but never stepping over that line, and doing excellent to show the skill that they have learned and earned in these GR86s. Spec racing is always its own thing as Tyler actually goes off course there for a brief moment. Wonder if you didn't know that that paved runoff kind of ends abruptly out of turn 6, because usually they like to pick up a little bit of rubber on their way back. So the drivers are going to carry on until they get back to the podium. And then they will get to celebrate with some champagne as Piscatel in that number 28 is going to get a 6th place here today. Excellent run for him. I'm sure he would have been liking more than that out there. But Justin needs to be proud of what he did, especially with how hard everybody was fighting. He held off Jackson Bell, who is a great racer in his own right. Tyler maybe just went off because he was so beside himself after that one. I'm sure the adrenaline's still going. He's coming down from that high. So here's your finishing results with Gonzalez taking the win as Gresham Wagner finished in 2nd. After that, Weston Workman 3rd and Cole Becker P4. Corey Hine, nice run there, up to 5th place ahead of Justin Piscatel in 6th. Jackson Bell P7 and Will Robusto, usually in the mix here in this race, in 8th. Lucas Weisenberg, who didn't have a great qualifying, climbed up to 9th for at least a top 10 to limit the damage, followed by Derek Jones there in 10th. Stephen Clemens, P11 for him, followed by Tyler Wettengel, unfortunately suffering that penalty at the end, and he did fall behind Clemens because of that. Kevin Foster, the lone Canadian here in the top 20, finishes 13th, as we've got Austin Dodge, P14, and Kanan O'Connell finishing 15th. Tommy McCarthy winding up P16 today ahead of Joey Da Silva in the 17th spot. Tony Breidinger going to actually beat Mia Lovell today. Nice job by that car there in the 70, finishing 18th, with many of the drivers farther down, unfortunately, having a bit of a bad race. As we go over, of course, our highlights from this race, a very good start from the field, and it included almost a wreck at the very beginning as the 76 of Clemens nearly found himself losing control. Meanwhile, Weston Workman was having to fight off all comers just to hold on to that 3rd spot, which wound up being incredibly important as a few cars made excursions, and unfortunately the spiked car way off and into the barrier at the kink, able to carry on, but had some serious damage on it until we got a spin that almost looked like it was going to be saved, and then the 86 had severe damage, which eventually kind of led to one of our cautions later on. Amazing save coming out of the carousel, which then later led to a battle here to the finish with only 0.07 of a second between the pair of them. And we can see they're getting their rewards here at the very end, and it looks like DJ's ready to talk to Tyler Gonzalez.
I am indeed. Tyler Gonzalez, another victory on the season, but you had to fight for that one.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's hot here at Road America, the first round of the weekend, and started on pole, had a great battle with Gresham all race long. That caution threw in some exciting moments, but we just had a super hard, clean, really good race, and I'm glad we could come out on top.
Well, we're glad you'll be able to do it again. I got to ask you, you've got this history of doing some repeats here. Are we going to see this again tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll see. I just want to thank Toyota, Gear Wrench, Copeland Motorsports, everyone who's helped me along the way. We're going to try and go 2 for 2 here, but there's some really tough competition, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, we'll see indeed. Tyler Gonzalez, your winner here from race 1.
You can see how hyped they are, of course, with that victory. The team coming to celebrate him, Copeland Motorsports. So this has been a fantastic race here at Road America. Join us for more later today here for SRO Motorsports.